Hi everyone, welcome to a very special Whirlpool preview of the Curragh this Saturday. 9 races to look forward to. The 5th is the major race. It is the 2,000 Guineas, the Irish 2,000 Guineas. But we're going to preview all 9. I say we've got Graham Cunningham, a regular fixture, of course, in the studio alongside. And we are joined by Fran Berry. Delighted to have him on board. So we are set to bring you the best insight ahead of the 9 races. Let's have a look at the first of them, which runs locally at 1:20. It's over the 1,200 metres, the straight 1,200 metres, 2-year-olds in action, and history tells us keep note of certainly what wins this particular race. Let's have a look at the fields. A few details to outline, and we're of course dealing with horses at the very early stages, if not the very first day of their career. Brussels is there. Cisterna, Ennoble, Kansas, stablemate of Brussels, down to the likes of Slodine, who's quite an interesting runner based on that first start. I'm going to come to Fran Berry with that. Fran, Slodine's run over track and trip, a lot of promise.
Yeah, plenty of promise there. There was Nick Slodine behind what has turned out to be very smart filly in green sense. She was just beating Group Company at Naas last Sunday in the green and dark green colours. But Slodine shaped with plenty of promise. The mentioned third on the front end here, Zaltan, had the benefit of experience. He cut out a good gallop, and visually Slodine looked momentarily like she was going to keep on to be second before looking to tire inside the final furlong. Given the stable had a quiet time of things, their juveniles tend to improve for the initial outing, Nick. It was a highly promising effort, and given the way in which the performance worked out with the winner, who blitzed the field, albeit on that occasion, looking quite smart, Slodine, with the benefit of that experience, should be very competitive here.
Yeah, quite well back that day as well. Graham, Aidan O'Brien in this race, he runs a couple. We're going to see Kansas. Just talk us through it.
Well, first of all, Aidan's record in this race is tremendous. Omni Matisse, unquestionable. Air Force Blue, all won Group 1s. Arizona went on to win the Coventry at Royal Ascot. So we have to respect whatever he runs. Problem is, he runs a couple here.
Let's have a look at Kansas, the one that's got form.
Yeah, this will show plenty of promise. He's by Wootton Bassett. So many of these O'Brien 2-year-olds are at the moment. And he showed plenty of speed. Fran, he showed a good cruising speed, this lad, but I did think he was a little bit green off the bridle. So I think we can expect some improvement, don't you?
Very much so, and given that he was on that occasion a stable second string, effectively, Graham, it was a really good effort, and having been outpaced by the eventual winner, who had a sharper turn of foot, debutant also in the inside yellow cap, getting up late on, who was ridden cold for Colin Keane, the white sleeves to be second. It was a good effort, and one would think, with the benefit of that run, stepping up to 1,200 metres here, we'll see a different horse on Saturday.
Okay, bit of guesswork here, but we do tend to have a look at what the trainer record's like, and you've touched on it. So you're 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it fairly simple here. I'm worried about Aidan O'Brien also saddling Brussels, but Kansas has some pretty persuasive runs on the board. I'll go 6, 1, 11 and 8 in race 1.
Excellent stuff. Right, Fran, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to stick like Graham with the winner anyway, at least. Number 6, Kansas. Number 11, Slodine, back in second. Brussels, debutant, back in third. And number 8, Learn to Discover in fourth. Number 8.
Let's keep things simple. I'm going to go Kansas as well. Best of luck, whatever you're going for in the first race on this big Saturday. Race 2 this big Saturday, this big Whirlpool Saturday at the Curragh is the Orby Stakes, which is run over 2,400 metres. We have a look at some more established horses, certainly. It's a listed event, 9 go, and just take a look at the turning track that they have to face at the Curragh. It is the of course, outstanding course and distance that is for the Irish Derby and Irish Oaks later in the season. These are your runners. Trust Your Instinct in the green and gold of JP McManus, St Salvador, Drawn to Dream, a Romzina, and further down under Oisin Murphy, the very interesting indeed Siege of Troy. But let's go to Graham with the thoughts on Trust Your Instinct and a key form race when we talk about later in the weekend.
Yeah, he's got some potential improvers against him, Trust Your Instinct, but he's got solid 109 rating, and he is that good. He's been pretty busy, went to Saudi, ran pretty well on deep ground, 2 back, and here he's in against 2 of the better middle distance horses in Ireland, Los Angeles and White Birch, more of them later on. You can see in the white cap, he hangs a bit to the right initially, Fran, but he does stay on, and the question is, if he reproduces his very best form, can the others improve to reach that level?
Yes, and I think dropping in grade, or well, taking on less stronger opposition, if you like, and stepping up in trip grade should be the making this horse. He liked the way he rallied to get the better of a previous group winner in Galen inside the last 150 yards, and with the extra 400 metres to play with here on this occasion, he sets a good standard at the top of the market.
Fran, I'm going to get your thoughts on Siege of Troy. The return to this distance is surely a positive, isn't it?
Yes, and looked quite ring rusty on her return to action at Gorham Park recently. Quite a sharp 1,800 and 1,900 metres race on that occasion, and held up down towards the inside of speed favouring track at Gorham Park. I think it was a good effort finishing off, albeit at the one pace, but with an extra distance to run over here and the benefit of that run. Siege of Troy is well entitled to step forward. Oisin Murphy retains the ride. If you get back to her run at Cork over 2,400 metres last year in group company, that would suggest this trip on Saturday is her best distance, and with the benefit of this run, she should be sharper, should improve, and with the extra distance play out, should be very competitive.
I think she's a big player. Cheap pieces retained. Graham, you 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I'm going to play safe with number 1, Trust Your Instinct. If he's at his best, this is bang on the right level for him. But there's a filly who cost €500 million in December. She's called Magical Hope. She showed pretty useful form in France and Germany. She joined the excellent Paddy Toomey, and she is one to keep a close eye on in the market. Race 2, 1, 4, 9 and 8.
Yeah, you're right to mention Paddy Toomey. His strike record at the moment is outstanding. Fran, what about you?
I'm going to go with number 7, Romzina, trained by Dermot Weld. We've not seen the best of this filly yet to date. Dropping back to 2,400 metres with an inside draw stall one to get cover and possibly track Trust Your Instinct. I think she's too good for him at this stage of her career. And so for me, number 7, Romzina to win. Trust Your Instinct, number 1, and 2nd, Magical Hope. Interesting import, number 4. And finally, for 4th place, number 9, Siege of Troy.
I will take a chance that she can take a leap forward, number 9, Siege of Troy, to win the second race of the day. Race 3 of this big Whirlpool Saturday is a big field, deep handicap, a premier handicap, 2,000 metres, a big field assembled. These are they. Westminster Moon heads it. Star Harbour 4th last year, bids go a few better. Mashore, Himalayan Heights is going to be a player. Soaring Monarch further down. And that's the first page of runners. On to the second page. Cloud Seeker we'll be talking about very shortly indeed. Killock, Dutch Golds, and further down for the likes of Cheers Again. They are your runners for this race in 2025. Let's have a look at Cloud Seeker, who doubtless a player, won a load of races in a row last year and returned to the winners' enclosure from the front last time, Graham.
Yeah, this could be a key galloping form guide. How can you not like Cloud Seeker? Uncomplicated run style. Won't miss him with the big white baldy face. Won 4 handicaps in a row in 2024, and this was his personal best at Leopardstown. I think he got a very efficient ride from the front, but he battled on strongly. A couple of others to note here, especially Killock, who's still a maiden on the flat, but this proves that he's very effective on the green stuff. I have to think these 2 horses are going to run the race. It's just a question of whether there's an improver or 2 among them. But especially Cloud Seeker, Fran, he's a very likeable handicapper, isn't he?
He is, and I probably find his niche 2,000 metres as well. Graham on its sound surface, having bombed out on quite testing ground seasonal debut. He was on a roll last year, bred to get better with distance and time, and he looked a stronger individual this year. Killock, crucially on this occasion, has got an inside draw installed too. Quite a short run to the first bend, 2,000 metres. An inner draw for his stalking style will suit him better, but Cloud Seeker could keep improving, and his forward style of racing will be suited to conditions on Saturday.
Fran, let's have a look at Himalayan Heights, who won first up for the season. First run since gelding. His trainer, Joe Lyons, has said, look, he's growing up, he's a big horse, he's getting better.
And he is, Nick, since being gelded. A little bit frustrating for connections, perhaps on occasions last seen, but with the benefit of being gelded and a good gallop to him here, ridden cold, he came through, siding through the field to go clear and win in a really good manner. The form of this race has been enhanced since then. The eventual third home, Cheeky Wink, going on to win readily at Tipperary subsequent to that, and the 5th home running very well in a Premier Handicap subsequent to that run as well, and the 6th, Pepper Noir, the grader, just coming to shot, also running well in handicap company since. He's up in the weights, but he looks like with gelding he's grown up a lot this year as a 4-year-old.
Graham, over to you.
Yeah, he's climbing high, that horse. He's been gelded during the winter, and he's a big, strong horse, getting better. He's up 8 pounds, but 8 pounds wouldn't have stopped him last time, and I think we both like this horse.
OK, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4 for you, please.
6, 2, 13, 11. I hope we're scaling the heights, the Himalayan heights in race 3.
Fran, what about you?
Sticking with Graham, I'm going to stick with Himalayan Heights, number 6, to win the race. Transformed since being gelded during the winter months. Aeronautic for Joseph O'Brien, number 3, an interesting one as well. Kialloch, number 13 as well, can get the money with an inside draw. And a pace angle for 4th place, number 11, Cloud Seeker.
Let's have a team's team in a 19-runner race. I thought that looked like a bull last time. And I think Himalayan Heights is going to win again. Number 6 for me. First group race of the day is the sprint. It's the Greenland Stakes. It's run over 1,200 metres. It is race 4 on the card, and it's run over the straight 1,200 metres. A Group 2 status race. 9 runners. These are they, as we see the course map. Big Gossy, always a fixture in these kind of races, heads them. Grand Grey, Iberian, James's Delight, Lethal Levi, a very interesting horse in the form of Storm Boy. Welcome to Ireland. Easy, Vespertilio. Graham, I said it because it is an interesting angle. This Aussie import. Aidan O'Brien's done it before with the Aussies coming over the sprinting ones. What do we think we've got here?
I think we've got a good horse. The market's going to be very interesting because we haven't seen him for quite a while. He was a highly, highly talented 2-year-old. Have a look at this race. This was stall 10. Easy ground, 1,400 metres for the Golden Rose, and the conditions and the draw and the work he had to do to get to the front guys just took a toll on him late. But he's in against good horses here, proper Grade 1 horses, and Merchant Navy was a similar horse who came from Australia. He went bang in this race and went bang at Royal Ascot. The market's going to be very, very interesting for Storm Boy. Fran Berry, have you heard any vibes about this fella?
Yeah, I was down in Ballydoyle earlier in the season, Graham, and the hopes were very high with him. He looked a big, long, rangy horse. I think that's only going to keep progressing physically as the year goes on. It'll be highly interesting, as you said, to track market moves from his Irish and European debut on Saturday. But I think all roads will lead to Royal Ascot for the Commonwealth Cup on the back of this run, no matter what happens.
Star Spangled Banner, also an Aussie import to go and do good things in Britain and Ireland for Aidan O'Brien. Right, let's have a look at my mate Alfie, a little bit more of an established horse in Ireland. Fran, the overall thing with this is the Greenland Stakes has been a bit of an export race in recent years. You guys could do with winning it.
Indeed, Graham. It's you see the strong UK trained field of runners on Saturday here again. But my mate Alfie's booked a trend last year. He improved markedly with getting headgear and really found his niche at sprinting trips last season, winning Group 3 company and also multiple wins in listed companies. He's a hugely likeable horse, and I think time will tell that he's run into a big improver who had just about his right conditions here in 2 Stars, who appointed him. That horse having the benefit of a run this season, a previous win. My mate Alfie forced him to a half length perhaps to the line. A good effort, up to 6 furlongs here to benefit that run at a track where he will enjoy a strong gallop team at Likely also. My mate Alfie, the best at home contingent.
And don't forget that was 1,000 metres.
Yeah.
So he's back to his ideal trip this weekend, and he's so rugged and consistent, he's got to be in the numbers.
Graham, let's have a look at some Newmarket form. Grand Grey and Lethal Levi, 2nd and 3rd in behind the French runner Sagir, but doubtless an interesting race to be looking at.
Yeah, I know Fran likes Grand Grey, and I like Lethal Levi to run well. Lethal Levi's in front, this is what he does, and I think he's bound to run his usual solid race. Grand Grey is a French import, and based on this evidence, Fran Berry, he may well have improved for the change of stables.
Yeah, and an interesting one. He's picked up for quite an expensive price at the end of last season. Graham in France switched to Newmarket, obviously to run here on a UK debut for Northern English trainer Kevin Ryan. I love the way he finished off this race on a speed favouring track. The winner Sagir produced a good performance, but the way on his debut this horse Grand Grey finished off a stiff 6 furlongs with a strong gallop. Again, Lethal Levi likely to cut out running at the Curragh. Could be the making of this horse, and Jamie Spencer has a really good record in the Greenland Stakes over the years.
So, are we Storm Boy or are we not?
Well, I think this is really tricky from the point of view of the market. If there's lots of confidence behind Storm Boy, my confidence will increase. If there isn't, then my mate Alfie is a very, very viable, solid alternative. I'm going to go 7, 6, 5, 3. If there's a proper Group 1 horse in this race, I hope it's Storm Boy.
I think that's a fair comment. Fran, what about you?
I'll be watching Storm Boy with interest for Royal Ascot more than Saturday, but like Graham said, watch the market moves. I'm going to go with Grand Grey. I love his English debut recently, and you can only come on from that. Number 2, Grand Grey to win. My mate Alfie to come home best of all. Number 6 back in 2nd. Storm Boy back in 3rd, number 7. And the pace setter, Lethal Levi, back in 4th, number 5.
Do you know what? I'm going to agree with you, Graham. I'm going to go that there is a star lurking, and it's the new Aussie boy. It's Storm Boy to win the Greenlands for me. Race 5 is the big one. It is the one that the whole day centres around. It is the Irish 2,000 Guineas of 2025, and it has got some real spice to it, considering the runners that come across the Irish Sea. This is the iconic 1,600-metre track. They'll formulate into, well, that little bit of a peloton and swing into the home straight, and from there we'll find out who gets that little taste of thoroughbred immortality. Right, these are the 9: Comanche Brave, Cosmic Year, Expanded Field of Gold, Hot as Hell, Officer, Rashabar, Scorthy Champ and Windlord. Fascinating, the Juddmonte runners from the UK. Chiefly Graham Cunningham, Field of Gold. Let's track him back to his win in the Craven.
Yeah, flagship horse of the weekend, potentially. And this is the performance which proves that he's a Group 1 winner in waiting. Craven Stakes, not quite the depth of a classic, but pretty good horses, and that big grey horse gets lots of cover. When a gap comes, I won't say he goes whoosh, but he lengthens and he sustains and he blows them away. This is the Craven Stakes at Newmarket that showed that he's got Group 1 potential, and the 2,000 Guineas, we'll move on to Fran on that race in a moment. Things didn't go quite so smoothly this time around, but in the Craven, he showed that he's a potential classic winner. And
then on to just about Fran, the most talked of race in 2025 so far. Roland Court winning it, Field of Gold was second. Kieran Schumacher, of course, on board that day, no longer rides.
Colin Keane on board at the Curragh hometown jockey on board on Saturday, and this is a key point of the race, not giving Ruling Court the respect he deserved when the pace, which was quite sedated for a classic, was increased at the 3-furlong marker. Kieran was sitting, William Buick was going, and that was the key point to winning and losing the race for the eventual second. Slightly quicker conditions, Group 1 horses just didn't come down the downhill run into the dip, trying to pick up quickening rivals. He gets going against the hill inside the final 100 yards, just too late, and that key point at the 3-furlong marker, making the decision to sit, was the difference between winning and losing on the day. He's back at the track at the Curragh, more galloping nature, a gradual climb from 400 metres out, and he should, if his rider is able to just stalk the pace, it will be fast conditions on Saturday, speed favouring track, but if he can go forward and just get cover behind the leaders, for me, Field of Gold with a more suitable track and a local rider on board will be hard to beat.
Let's talk tactics for a second, chaps. John Gosden has mentioned the possibility of letting Field of Gold go forward. I think that has to be kidology. Windlord is in for the same ownership with cheap pieces. He's highly likely to be making the pace, and a strong pace should suit Field of Gold. His old man Kingman had an instant turn of foot, and he won this race by 5 lengths.
Having finished second in the Guineas at Newmarket.
I don't think Field of Gold has that push-button acceleration, but he's got a rating of 120 based on the Guineas, and that sets the bar high for all these other colts to match next.
Kingman is also the sire of the very interesting Cosmic Year, Graham, who is unbeaten hitherto. We're going to learn a lot more about him on Saturday.
This is a huge day for his trainer, Harry Charlton, because I think Harry, it's fair to say, has had to step aside more than once, because he fancied this horse for the 2,000 Guineas, fancied him for the French Guineas. Juddmonte had other plans for Field of Gold, Jonquil, etc. But here he is. I think this is a listed race at Newmarket. What do you think about the head carriage for Cosmic Year, Fran? Because it's a little ungainly, isn't it?
A little ungainly, but I do like the way he responded to pressure for all that his right out to put the whip down to straighten him after giving him a backhander with his right hand. Again, the nature of the Curragh Racecourse and stepping up and trip to 1,600 metres, this horse you think can only improve off that. And his previous Sandown win on turf as a debutant was very impressive also. Interesting contender.
Fran, it would be remiss not to talk about Aidan O'Brien. He's won this race 12 times. Officer, is he the next Paddington who won the same race we're about to see Officer winning before winning the Guineas 2 years ago?
Yeah, and he created a good impression debut in August 2024, and not been seen the track since then. Graham, he kicked it off with a good run on testing ground at a time when all the Aidan O'Brien horses were getting beat. They looked like they're in badly need of a run and maybe just not in top form. Roll on into early May, and this is Officer stepping forward like the rest of Aidan O'Brien's stable, and he duly stays on well to get the better of Curwood back in second. Back in third, a promising time in Alakazi, and the 4th home Beckman was an impressive winner of a handicap, albeit an ace last Sunday. I have to respect him, stable first string, any amount of improvement to come off that run. One would think you'd like to see him a bit sharper for the run on this occasion, but I think he can only improve.
We should point out his rating is 108. So he's still got work to do against Field of Gold, but he has taken a big step forward with each of his 3 runs so far.
We haven't even mentioned, Graham, the likes of Group 1 winner, Scorthy Champ, Hot as Hell, the Coventry winner, Rashabar. It all comes together. Who's your 1, 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, this is a fascinating race. Field of Gold has the best form. He's going to get a strong pace to run at. He needs to put his hand up and show exactly what he's made of. I've got him on top, but I'm going to go a bit wider behind. I think Rashabar is a horse we've not mentioned too much, but we should do. He was a really good 2-year-old, finished ahead of Field of Gold in France, in Paris, in the autumn, and he came back with a very solid performance in the Greenham behind Jonquil, and apparently he is working a treat. So I'll definitely save on Rashabar, but it's 4, 7, 6 and 2 in a compelling Irish Guineas.
It is just that. Fran, who wins it?
Field of Gold, UK Guineas off the best trial for this race. And number 4, Field of Gold, a 1 for me. Officer number 6 for Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore back in 2nd. Last year's Group 1 winner, seasonal debut, number 5, Hot as Hell, back in 3rd. And 4th, Cosmic Year, number 2.
I think it's going to be redemption for Field of Gold. I'd want to, of course, have my own thoughts on this, but it's hard to get away from the fact that I think Field of Gold is going to prove the best horse and go one better than Newmarket. Race 6 is one of the premier handicaps on the day. It's the Emerald Mile. We're going to show you the course map, and guess what the distance is? There you go, 1,600 metres. Big field for this, 19 declared at the 48-hour stage for this prestigious handicap. They're headed by Curragh. Randy's a big player. Blues Emperor, Kuza, State Actor. We'll be talking about that horse who bids to win it again. That is page 1. And over the page, Lord Church, Serialised, Schlieve Binion, Sun Air, down to Enchanted Garden, 88. Graham, an obvious starting point, last year's winner of this race. Last year's winning performance from State Actor, who's generally got a good record at the track.
Yeah, what a likeable horse this fella is. Remember when he won this race, that's Blues Emperor on the far side, he hasn't really progressed. State Actor did, and this was only his 4th run.
Yeah.
He's a hold-up horse, a strong traveller, strong pace suits him, and watch the way he picks up these more experienced horses. So this race 12 months ago. He's obviously a fair bit higher in the weights nowadays, but this is a really likeable horse, Fran. He went to Ascot on his final start last year. He bled, so we have to give him a pass on that. But we're going to go from this race 12 months ago, where he swoops to conquer, to the Irish Cambridgeshire early last autumn, when he did everything right and was just nailed on the line.
Yeah, and a highly capable horse, lightly raced, well suited to the style of racing here to Curragh. Overcame a draw bias to win that occasion, or a pace bias to win that occasion at this meeting last year. Graham, and in late August, just got nailed right on the line by Wigmore Street. The eventual winner, who's dead last to ride a shot, Ryan Moore, inspired getting up late on to win on Wigmore Street. Colin Keane back here on this horse on Saturday as well, travelled strongly to run throughout. It must have thought all roads are covered for much of the race, but he just got nailed late on against the hill. But the way he travels through a run, I'd forgive him his last race at the back end of the season at Ascot. He's a very good record, fresh, and you can see just getting done on the line. The eventual 3rd has gone on to win this week as well back here, and it's a cracking effort as well. Curragh, highly capable horse also in behind. He will be all the better, I think, for a seasonal debut. Noble Porter, an interesting type, but for me, State Actor is well suited conditions here again on Saturday.
Franny's a hold-up horse. Stall 3 is neither here nor there, is it?
No, look, I think he'll have to take his chances and look and wait for the gaps if to do appear, Graham. But he showed in that feat he was seen first of all that he can overcome pace bias and draw position, if you like, and he's got a good turn of foot to get through horse if the gaps appear.
Graham, let's have a look at Randy, who in recent times has been contesting a couple of Lincolns, winning the Irish version 2 starts ago.
Yeah, this horse has come back in tremendous form. This was the Irish Lincoln very early in the spring, and do remember, it was pretty testing ground. He's another hold-up horse. He's got a pretty good turn of foot. He holds 1 or 2 of these on this form, and he went on from here to the English Lincoln at Doncaster, ran an excellent 3rd. But it's 2 things for me, Fran, with Randy. It's drying ground, and he's up another 4 pounds, even above the Doncaster defeat. So I think he's got 1 or 2 minor questions to answer. What do you think?
For Hong Kong viewers, Randy is a very capable horse, but he's a mudlark, Graham. He ran it superbly well in Doncaster and English Lincoln. The form of this race worked out extremely well. The 3rd, 4th have won since then. The 5th just got beaten in a big handicap at Ascot last week. But for me, if the ground remains on the fast side of good, which it looks likely, he's very vulnerable here, and I'm against him on this occasion due to ground conditions.
Graham.
I'm going to talk about another horse. I'm going to take you to church here, Nick. Lord Church, to be exact. This is a horse who thrived for Michael Halford and Tracy Collins last year. He's joined Emmett Mullins now, and he really caught the eye in a pretty good race at Limerick. That was a dawdle in very deep ground. He was left in a poor position. There wasn't too much sign of the whip late on, but he stayed on strongly for third, and I think he's ready to peak in a big handicap this weekend. So I'm going to go 12-6-5-1 with Lord Church on top.
What about you, Fran Berry?
English trained handicappers always have an edge in Irish races. For me and Skakuza, Ryan Moore booked Fred Dunlop second in the Britannia last year. Really good eye-catch return to action at all weather recently. For me, he's the winner. Number 5, Skakuza. Second, 13, Serialize, a likeable filly who's likely to roll forward on the pace. Lord Church back in third, number 12. And Enchanted Garden, another possible pace angle, number 18, back in fourth.
I'm going to take a chance that number 7, Akachita, can go one better than a promising return last time. I think the pace will suit. And she's ridden by the excellent Billy Lee. Best of luck, whatever you're going for. Race 7, as we work our way towards the tail end of the card on Saturday, it's a 1,400-metre handicap. It doesn't get any easier, though, to try and find the winner because there is a big field assembled. This is the straight 1,400 metres. They are going to thunder down in front of the grandstand. And let's see if we can whittle it down to the winner. Transcending Glory, Hood on for the first time, heads them. Chicago Fireball we'll be talking about. Shavazi, ditto that horse. Marrakesh, Pina del Rio we'll be seeing. Verhoeven loves this race, bids to win it for a third time. Further down, Port Louis even, Rappel, Black Storm, Genesis, Just for One Day, and Secret Magician at the bottom. Let's have a look at Pina del Rio at Nace a little earlier in the month.
Okay, get your excuses in first. This is perhaps the toughest puzzle on the card. The far side, this horse Pina del Rio did really well for a small stable, Joe Conlon, last year. Wasn't seen after August, has joined Kieran Cotter, and he showed that all his speed and ability are intact. This was a very good reintroduction after a lengthy break. Handy horse, Fran.
Yeah, definitely a contender as well. Can only improve for that return to action after quite a long layoff. And he liked the way against the rail. He found plenty under pressure to hold second late on as well. And back up to 7 furlongs or 1,400 metres, including when he was second at this track over course of distance last year. I think Pina del Rio can only improve off that run, Graham. And if it's speed favouring track, he could be a big player here.
He's handicapped to go very well, as there was the case in this race on second last year. Should we have a look, Fran, at Chicago Fireball and get your thoughts on the horse?
Foregoing type, who's got a really decent record, running very well at the Curragh, who's been second here on 2 occasions, very good handicaps. He's shaped on this occasion like he will improve for this run, even though it was the second start of 2025. The form of this race looks very strong. The winner, Tokenomics, is an interesting prospect going to Alaska for a handicap. Serialize, the third home runs in race number 6 here on Saturday to Curragh in the red cap. And Chicago Fireball just been outpointed inside the final furlong. I think he can only improve off this. Back to a stiffer 1,400 metres should suit him far better than Cork. And for me, he's an interesting contender given he only gets better at this time of the year at this track.
Had cheek pieces for the first time at Cork. And this time around, he's drawn right on the wing in stall 20, Fran. Is that any issue, do you think, stall 20?
Not ideal given his run style, Graham. I'd imagine his rider will elect to come up the middle of the track, but you got to do a fair bit of running if you want to cross over to the far side. You would like a single figure stall ideally for him given his run style.
All right, let's get to the winner here, because me and Fran Berry have agreed on this, and it won't be a horse who will catch many people's eye right away, but as my voice isn't brilliant, Fran, the floor is yours for Shavazi.
Shavazi, lightly raced filly. She was decent and progressive last year, winning at Killarney over 1,600 metres and also won over 1,800 metres. I thought she shaped like she was in need of the run on a recent turn to action on a heavy track at Gorham Park in April. It could be that 1,400 metres, maybe as short as she wants, but a likely strong gallop here. And if she's going to progress beyond her opening rating this year of 83, I think it's a good setup for her here. Shavazi, likely raced unexposed. For all that the suspicion reigns that she wants further, I think she's the one to beat here, and I'll go with her number 6. Another likely raced type, Marrakesh, number 9 for second. Genuine Article, an interesting horse in seasonal debut back in third, number 8. And a pace angle should be there at the death, number 3, Chicago Fireball.
I like Shivazi as well. 10, 7, 8 as backup, but in this tough handicap, 6 Shivazi on top, Berry and Cunningham in this together.
I'm going to take you both on. Genuine article number 8 for the Keens on return. Race 8 at the Curragh this Saturday. The Guineas isn't the only 3-year-old race on the day. We do have a 1,400-metre handicap allocated to the 3-year-olds. It is a straight 1,400-metre event, and there are 11 horses who are going to take their place. Hopefully stand their ground. East Hampton's there, and Nancy J. Jagged Edge will be talking about Shameful, interesting runner from the UK. Glendower, Iceford, Monotone, Scott Key, Far From Dandy, Powerful Lady, Gangster Man. That'd be the perfect link into Graham Cunningham, wouldn't it? Right, Jagged Edge at Cork.
Steady on, steady on. Here comes Jagged Edge. This looks a big, good-looking, easy goer. The handicapper hasn't missed him with a mark of 90, but this was a really impressive performance. He travelled beautifully on the speed. He found plenty, and Fran, the second home in this race, went to Roscommon, and he skated in by 7 lengths. The form looks good.
It was, and the eventual second improver stepping up and trip. We got the winner here, Jagged Edge, dropping down 200 metres in distance here on this occasion, but on a relatively straight track with a stiff finish at the Curragh. He should be in his comfort zone. He looks a fluent enough mover. Now, it is contrasting ground to what he won on a Cork compared to the Curragh on Saturday, but even off his high enough rating at 90 on handicap debut, he can only improve off that, and he has to be a big contender.
Fran, let's get your thoughts on East Hampton's success in the Madrid handicap at the very start of the season. Always a key race. It certainly was when Paddington won it, but an important early season handicap.
Yeah, and East Hampton showed a lot last season on occasions, including running very well at this track behind Honor Matisse and Beckman on his initial 2 starts. And after rounding off the year with a win at this track, he finished off the year with a decent run, the all-weather. But back on the turf here, he had a ground-saving run down towards the inside and came through, as he often does, travelling strongly to go away and win in good style. Big spread in the field, very tiring conditions. He looks a horse that's very versatile, though, on any going, given he's ran well on fast ground here at the Curragh in the past. East Hampton, a worthy top weight for all that this.
Graham, Iceford returns to handicap company. Cheap Piece is retained after that run behind Storm Peace last time at Gorin.
Yeah, Iceford's a pretty handy horse. He hasn't won yet, but I'm not going to hold that against him because he's run several good races. Every chance, clear of the remainder, up to 86 a result of this performance. Not a complicated horse, very capable horse, but I just wonder whether there might be 1 or 2 strong improvers who can relegate him to a minor role again. It's good quality handicap, this, and there are 1 or 2 horses we haven't mentioned yet who should certainly make their mark.
The trainer of the winner, Storm Peace, very much believes Royal Ascot could be on the agenda as well, so they rate him quite highly. OK, you've teased us, Graham. You're 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it would be shameful if I didn't mention British Raider here. Called Shameful for Clive Cox. And this is a horse who's only had 2 runs. He was a tidy winner at Newbury last autumn, but it's his Kempton run when he was a clear second behind a horse, I think, called Marvel Man, who's boosted the form with a very good performance at Newmarket. He was my fancy at Newbury last weekend. He was a non-runner as the ground dried up. I think he might be ahead of the handicapper. So it's Shameful on top of the very, very promising Dermot Weld horse, Jagged Edge. Powerful Lady at a long price, and Gangster Man, 4, 3, 10 and 11 in a handicap I'm really looking forward to.
Fran, what about you?
Yeah, for me, I'm with Graham. Shameful. I think his profile is very interesting coming over here to run at the Curragh on Saturday. I love horses getting the handicaps here on the back of 2 efforts. So I'm going to go with Shameful, number 4 to win. Jagged Edge, similar profile. Number 3 back in second. Far From Dandy in English. Import to trainer Stephen Thorne, interesting, back in third. Number 9. And top weight, number 1, East Hampton, back in fourth.
Ace 3, Jagged Edge, to keep the prize at home for me. Best of luck, whatever you're going for, in race 8. So then we've made it onto the 9th and final race. Thank you very much for joining us through this canter across the card for the 9 races for Irish 2000 Guineas Day, this Whirlpool Saturday at the Curragh. Let's have a look at the declared runners for the 9th and final race. It's a maiden for the 3-year-olds, but it's a significant one, and it's worth noting who wins this. Notable runners could be coming in the form of Escharan, number 4, Propose, number 6, Rizal, number 7, further down, Tracker Issue, Valorous Power. Let's have a look at Echeran's debut at Leopardstown. It's a big jump up in trip, and I mentioned the fact that winners of this race can go on to good things.
They have done. It's unusual to see a maiden as the last race on a Whirlpool card, but it looks a pretty good one. And this is Echeran. Didn't have a gentle race, 3 or 4 strong cracks to stay on into second behind a very promising horse called Zodiac Bear. But this was only 1,400 metres, and based on pedigree and the way that Echeran stays on, the step up to middle distances should be a big plus.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him over this little bit further. Let's get the thoughts of Fran Berry on Aidan O'Brien's Propose, who goes back to the turf again, was beaten in a race at Dundalk that Aidan O'Brien tends to target. And of course, he won this race last year with a subsequent Ledger winner.
Indeed, Nick, and this is a really good effort on his return to action for this horse, Propose, who shaped far better than the bare result on debut that occurred back end of last season. Poorly positioned on the track, his rider elected to go to far side instead of sticking to his draw, and he definitely could upgrade that performance as he could here. I think it just time will prove that he just needed to run on this occasion. He was on up at the pace, and now pointed late on by what is a very proud winner in Woodshaw Whisper, who had a very good run last season in Leopardstown. The form has taken a small knock. The third has got beaten since then, but given the way the stable are shaping in March and April, this horse can only improve back on the turf with that experience, and he should be a different prospect here on Saturday.
OK, it's only a few days since Valorous Power, Graham, made the debut at Killarney. Went off a relatively big price, but there was a good bit of promise. There was a little unlucky moment in the run, and he's bred to want the trip.
I think so. It's all about who can improve most here, because we're dealing with very well-bred, lightly raced horses. This was Killarney, slowish break, dropped out in a steadily run race, left Valorous Power with plenty to do. And he wasn't knocked about at any stage here, but he stays on really nicely late on, behind a couple of very, very useful rivals. I think he might be the type of horse to improve a bundle, but 1 or 2 others in the race have that profile too.
He just appeared where you'd want him to on the heels of the third. Right, taking it all into account, and there's not a lot to take into account, admittedly. Hopefully we'll see another Ledger winner, you never know. Who's going to win it?
It's a speculator. The market should be informative here, but I'm going to go with Valorous Power. I like the way he stayed on late. Should be plenty of improvement in him. 4, Echeran looks a ready-made winner of a race like this. 6 and 7, 11, 4, 6 and 7 in the Curragh Nightcap.
Fran, the last.
Yeah, for me, it's all about Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien in the finale. Propose can only improve on his seasonal debut in the all-weather at Dundalk back on the turf here. Number 6, Propose, will be hard to beat. Echeran, number 4, stepping up in distance beyond the 1,400 metres, which he ran on debut, will suit very well. Rizal, number 7, to pick up the pieces back in third. And Valorous Power, shaping maybe like he wants further than 2,000 metres on Saturday, back in 4th place.
Right, 3 opinions, 3 different opinions as well. I'm going to go against both Graham and Fran. I'm going to go Echeran number 4 to win the last. But after the 9th and final preview, it's with thanks to Fran and indeed Graham. And thanks to you for watching. Best of luck, whatever you're punting, on a very special day at the Curragh.